Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above the door. Need all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. Yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again. So sweet again. Oh na 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 na. When all I see is darkness and gloom, yeah, I've been running from my doom. Oh na 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 na. But now it's time to live my life, but now I know what I need to do. Can't stay right when it's blowing, pushing me down. Feels like I'm falling apart, yet I hold on. Head held high, can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all. Meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet. Meet all my challenges, search for my
Man, I love that song. I love that song. Happy Sunday. It's the 19th. It's the 19th of Aprilocalypse. Aprilocalypse. Tell me you guys can hear me talking. Just tell me. I'm always needing a reassurance. I need to know, can you hear the James talking? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth right now? Please tell me you can hear me. Please say so. Also, I want to, assuming you can hear me, I want to thank Redbeard. I seem to have found a dial in my settings here that might make it better. So, tell me someone can hear me talking. I'm waiting for someone in chat to give me an amen. I'm waiting for them. I'm like, yeah, someone's going to tell me they can hear me talking to them. That's right. Oh, I'm clearing my throat again. Trying to. All right, thanks, Tricky Woo. I am so glad to be here, and I'm trying to stop clearing my throat. My two towers have static in them when I speak to you, and I think it's more having to do with nerves. To be honest with you, I think that what you're hearing is it's a noise that is reflecting the oscillation that is truest to me, which is kind of a little bit of a nerve thing. So I just want to point that out. I'm actually saying it out loud because I'd like to stop that. I think that you would enjoy the soothing sound of truth if it didn't have all these interruptions of, oh, hey, I'm nervous. Oh, hey, I'm nervous over here. Who needs that? No one needs that in their oscillation. We are a roller skating rink of life, and no one needs gravel. None of us, not one person around here needs any gravel. So, let's get started. Hey, feel free to let me know if it feels like the sound is even better than last time. Again, hats off to Redbeard and to Michelle for pushing on about the whole I can't hear you. I'm pretty sure this might be better. And if it needs to go up, I actually know there's this secret thing. It's called volume. When I saw volume in the system settings, I thought it meant like the size of the lap that you have. The more volume you have, the laptop would expand. It turns out it's just for sound. Volume just means sound. I had no idea. It's funny how it works that way. This is part of decoding. There are different levels of truth, and you climb a ladder of each truth. In fact, each word has a built-in stepping stone into it. You understand something on the first level, and then you understand that same something on the next level. Love is a perfect example of that. We spoke of that yesterday. The 3 main levels of love. I think that's really important. I'm going to repeat it. There's the love as a slave. And keep in mind, guys, I don't think that slave is an evil word. I realize I'm a white male, and so even saying that requires a certain amount of courage because of the zeitgeist, the way we have it infused, which is also pretty fucked up. But the slave is actually a relationship. You enter into a codependent relationship when you step into slavery. You were born into this world into a slave love with your parent. You are the receptor of love. You really don't have free will is budding in you. And because it's budding, slavery is a necessary part of that. It's a training wheels kind of love, which gets you to the next thing when you're on 2 wheels. That's the partner love, right? See? You've now gotten off the training wheels and you're on 2 wheels. You have partner love. You have coexisting love. Man loves a woman. Brother loves a brother. Sister loves a sister. Then there's the 3rd love, which is actually master love. Yes, it's true. When you become the bequeather of someone else's well-being, that is a master kind of love. It involves a lot more sacrifice. You're not sacrificing your sovereignty as much as you're sacrificing your time, your effort that you're putting in. So the master slave is a system of sacrifice where each is actually sacrificing themselves. The slave sacrifices their sovereignty, and the master sacrifices their time, which you could look at that as a sort of a plasmatic form of sovereignty stretched out on a temporal timeline. Man, there's so many cool things that are like coming through the big giant head, that we all have, that it's hard to stay focused. But that's why I built an outline. I spent all morning playing with this awesome program that's free, OBS, and I have an outline, so it should be fine. I'd like to start off with some news. It turns out that COVID is spread much like smoke. Meaning that it will actually stay above, a few feet above the ground. It has a zone that it stays in. So the health department is going to be issuing that all people should walk around in public on all 4s. It would just seem that that's really the safest thing to do. This is going to make you at least twice as safe as you would be when you were wearing a mask. And so I think it would be irresponsible for all of us to continue walking upright. It would think of the children, please. Everyone, can we please think of the children? You there, you are not thinking of the children. Right. Yes, thank you. So that's an interesting piece of news. I wanted to share that with you guys. This will only get worse. We will only be applying more pressure until we all get it. As I stated yesterday, there are 380 trillion viruses in the body, and they will declare war on each one of them. You are a pincushion. If you're going to stay down in that slave role, you're going to get a lot of needles stuck in your ass. And man, good luck with that one. Good luck, right? Now, this is a flyer I made. If anyone's reading this on the, sorry. Anyone listening who's not seeing this, I have a flyer of someone crawling underneath smoke, and the smoke is labeled COVID-19, and that person has a mask on. I kind of ruined the joke by telling you now, but this is learning. We're all learning here. All right, this flyer that I've made, I confess I've not hung it up yet. It is on my list. I've been really busy, but this is going to Fred's, my local mercantile. Very small town ski town we have here, and they've now installed cattle prod tape, cattle directional tape on the floors, and people are walking around in masks. And I have secured the downstairs deli. Those people are not under the spell. I've been able to go in there every morning and cast my verbal spell with my 2 towers, and we're all cool. But upstairs is run by some Canucks that are just airtight about this whole thing. Everyone's up there in masks, and it's like Darth Vader, and this is going to go up there. I'm going to read it. Notice, people with chronic respiratory disease cannot wear surgical masks. This includes asthma, bronchiectasis, COPD, deviated septum, heart failure, lung cancer, pulmonary fibrosis. Stop regurgitating fake news about the effectiveness of N95 masks for protection. There are people trying to be healthy while you assault them like an immunity bandit behind a unisex hijab issued by the empty shell of government. You look like a retarded bank robber, and all you're doing is making people feel sick. That is my suggestion for a flyer. You can download a copy of this at my website. This is regular. There is a diet version. I do offer this in a diet version. So if this language is maybe too technical, the unisex hijab issued by the empty shell of a government, maybe that's not the best approach. I encourage you to find your own, but that's the one that I think you should have. Speaking of which, there is a resonance to truth, and just as there are different levels that you discover about words, such as love, level 1, level 2, level 3, there are levels of words all around, and phrases, and what we mean. And someone can hear you say one thing, but you actually would mean something completely different. Not even different. Nay. I take that back. Not different, but more profound, deeper, subterranean. Still the same, though. It's still the same message, but it resonates on different levels. Okay? If you were to play a C below middle C, and you were also to play a C above middle C, you have a harmonic happening below and above. And we are learning to communicate in the harmonic, and that's why I want to give you a magic phrase that I've built for this occasion, and I'm sharing that with you now. When you see someone wearing a mask, you can be completely honest with them by saying this phrase. Honesty is very important. When it passes through your 2 towers, speaking of which, I have a confession to make. We'll get into that later. When it passes through your 2 towers, you want the truth of the words to resonate the sound too. And that's what this is. The magic phrase, feel free to write this down, is you can point it at their mask, okay? You're talking to someone, they're wearing a mask. You point at your face and you say, I can't understand you. I can't understand you. Now, on one level, that means I can't hear you. I'm not able to hear what you're saying. On another level, it means I am a lip reader, and I can't see your lips, so I can't understand you. And then here comes the 3rd octave. I freaking love this stuff. The 3rd level is you're actually saying, the fact that you're wearing a mask, I cannot understand you. I cannot understand you. And that is beautiful, my friends. That is some triple layered awesomeness coming through there. That is how it's done. That is some real magic gravy. And I encourage you all to adopt that as your own, because it would be a completely honest thing to say. And you can say this with compassion. You can say, I can't understand you, with compassion. And that's what's going to open them up. They're going to immediately check it out. This proves the electricity of your magic, because I guarantee you what they're going to do is they're going to go, I said 498, sir, and you've already broken their spell. Now you have a direct injection into their empathy centers through the face. Keep in mind, functional MRI lights up the entire brain. That's only through facial recognition. So you're breaking the spell. They've lowered their shields. That's what this is. They're lowering their shame shields. And anything you can do to get them to lower their shame shields, even for a second, that costs them calories, which guess what? Makes it expensive. They are now equating how many calories it takes to say something. The next time they have a customer, even. Seriously, the next time they have a customer, they could even do 768, sir. And that right there proves, oh my goodness, it worked. I dropped a sticker in the deli when I first was there, and the sticker was it was all the way on, but it was halfway off. It was like rolled off. And that was a representation of the sticker said humanity is not a virus. I stuck it on top of the COVID thing. It had partially rolled off for like 3 or 4 days, but it clung. It was still there. It was a half spell. The spell was there. It still had its electrical power, but I could tell I was losing the space. You see how that works? I was losing the space a little bit. And now there's one lady that does wear a mask, but she takes it off now to talk to me. She can't help it. She has to. And then the cook in the back, he literally lights up and smiles, and he points at his face to show me he's not wearing the fucking mask. And that is so badass. It's stuff works. So remember, here's the magic word again. I can't understand you. Say it with compassion. Just point at your face, showing them their face, and just say, I can't understand you. I can't understand you. And it's weird. You can say it 3 times, and you can mean it each way, each time. So you can play middle C, lower C, upper C, or you could play any combination of them. That's what makes... This is the language of resonance. Do you follow me? You follow me? You follow me? You're using words just to broadcast the resonance. That's just the excuse. It's just... What words can I use to broadcast the right resonance? It would be no different than if I was to reach way back there in the other room and strike a piano chord and go boom. It would be the same thing as me saying squirrel tail biscuit. It creates this same sort of resonance of tone about what's happening in that moment. It's truly the subterranean world, how we talk. We've been trapped in the attic of corporate fiction. When you die in Egypt, they shove a fucking thing up your nose and pull brain parts out. They just keep pulling it out. They spend 70 days preserving. I'm talking about the rich guys, Pharaoh. They'll spend 70 days preserving, wrapping your kidneys, your lungs, your spleen, all your organs. They'll put them in these clay jars one by one, real careful. They'll pull your heart out. They'll wrap it. They'll bless it. They'll do all this stuff. They'll actually put that back in the body, but everything else goes in these jars, these Baghdad battery jars, but they have organs in them. Just nothing but salt. All your salts in your body, our alchemical salts, are just in this clay jar, just waiting for 70 days. Waiting. Make sure someone can download that again. But your brain, no. It's all snot. It's all just congealed snot. It's in the way. They don't even save it. We've been taught that the brain is everything. And it's no stupider than watching a kid running down the street with a wireless router screaming, I've got the internet! I have the internet! I've stolen the internet! The internet is mine! This is a router. All this does is route your organs and your adrenals into your memory system. That's all. All your stuff is here. The snot around your pineal, that's not even wiring. It's actually it's a lot like those irrigation I'm not going to be able to pull this off because I don't know how to explain this. It's going to take me like 20 minutes to explain this fabric you get that stops irrigation. But it's basically this really tight, thin plastic net. I'm just going to move on. Happy Sunday, y'all. April 19th. Aprilocalypse 19th. I'd like to talk now about sacrifice. I've been hard on nurses lately. I've been hard on nurses because I'm a veteran. And I look at a nurse as the inverse veteran. Convincing a veteran they commit murder is really hard. But convincing a nurse she's an accomplice in homicide is even harder. The soldier already has a gun. You can point to the gun and you can go, dude, you know you killed somebody, right? And they're like, but it's for this or it's for that. It's for that. Nurses have it even harder because they're following a procedure, and nowhere in the procedure is there a gun. Every part of the procedure is wrapped differently. It's a protocol. And for everyone to learn something, you have to make a sacrifice. And humanity made that sacrifice to learn something, and they sacrificed nurses. They sacrificed them in such a bad way. And they told us it was coming in 2012. And I blame no one for what's happened to us. Actually, I blame myself. I really there's actually 2 confessions. I'm going to have to write this down because if I forget, it's going to suck. I will lose so much prana because I'm telling you I'm going to confess and then I don't. I have 2 confessions to give you. The first is I didn't read my own book. And the second is sarcasm. Man, I hope I remember those. Nurses have had to sacrifice their dignity, their respect. Nurses are the archetype of the Blessed Virgin. They are. There's a purity, a Florence Nightingale archetype that comes with that, and their trust of the process, their trust of the procedure, has betrayed them in deep, deep, deep ways, the most painful ways you could imagine. The most epically painful ways you could imagine, we've betrayed our nurses from. And they've been placed on a pedestal exactly like the veteran, and they've been forced to go through the exact same abuse. The difference is that with the apocalypse, what you're seeing right now is the sacrifice of the nurse. And it looks like this. These are awesome people. They're real and they're awesome people. They're beautiful people. They have seen things that they will never tell you because they love you. They have absorbed they've absorbed amperage into their adrenals that could not be repeated, and it's changed them. It changes all of us when we go through that. Giving birth is like running 20 amps through a 15 amp circuit. It's now you're a 20 amp you're a 20 amp woman now when you've had a kid, right? Nurses are the same way. They go through this trauma. If you meet anyone that rides an ambulance for a living, you will find someone that is addicted to adrenaline. That comes with the territory. That addiction is installed the first night. The very first night you watch someone die or you watch someone not die. You open up, you dilate your adrenals into that kind of amperage. You've rewired your amp. It no longer goes to 10. You've opened that shit up, and you haven't just changed the dial. You've adjusted a lot of stuff in there. And now you can take it up to 15. And by doing that, your system is different now. It is a different system. It lacks the fidelity that it used to have. It lacks the fidelity of judgment and trust. Not trust. It lacks the fidelity of judgment in exchange for the fidelity of trust. You enter into a platoon as a nurse, especially in the ER, especially, holy fuck, y'all. The ER, when you walk into an ER, into a crash room, I don't even know what they call it, forgive me. I don't want anyone to think that I even know this shit, but this is what I know. You walk into this crash room, and it is a freaking Hollywood stage set up. What I mean by that is a ritual stage. It's a giant interior ritual. Just the light, just the lamp that they roll over to shine on the body is probably like $60,000. Well, I say that because when you have equipment like that surrounding you that's worth more than your entire salary for 3 or 4 years combined, you become an acolyte inside that church. When I was a kid, I sang in Notre Dame, and walking inside, I became a light fixture of the church. I wasn't a human. I was a part of the set. I loved it. This isn't me complaining. I'm just saying that when you enter into a scene, a set, this is why Hollywood's so powerful. When you enter into that, you become part of that. It's an act. I'm sorry, it sounds bad. I'm speaking in terms of plays. It's a stage that's been set. It's a ritual, and it takes you over. It's no different than when you jump in a foxhole. That is a setting. It's a stage. You're on the main stage now, but you're in the foxhole. It's on. You can't stop the show. You cannot stop this show. If you're in an ER crash room, you cannot stop the show. If you're in a foxhole, you cannot stop the show. And when you get into that sort of temporal addiction, when you find yourself riding the train of fucking now, see, when you're on the train of now, you are freaking open. Your adrenals are open, full blast, and you're just like, let's go, man. What's going on? And there's no stopping. That's why when they come home at night, you don't really sleep. You crash. You don't really rest. You recharge. These are different terms. I know they seem like the same, but they're completely different terms. Same thing with soldiers. That PTSD is no different than if you were to unplug an old television set and pull out the capacitors and find out these things still have power in them. There's still an electrical charge. This isn't plugged in. It's been in the woods for 7 years. It could sap the piss out of me right now. It's still there. We don't have roots to reconnect and rebind this to the ground. Why? Because if they gave you roots, if we taught each other how to do this, a nurse would be walking in going, I'm not fucking doing that. You nuts? That sounds insane. That's crazy. There's no way I'm going to go for this or go for that or whatever. There would be if not even that, there would be a pull code. There would be a cord in that crash room that you could pull stop. A stop of no confidence. Something's wrong here. And I will continue on in my job. See, here's how it works. I will continue on in my tribe. I've entered into this tribe. We've entered into a set. But I'm going to pull this fucking cord. I will keep working, but I am pulling the cord, damn it. And that should tell someone something. Someone come to ER stat. Something's fucked up. And that's all it takes. And then you have an opportunity for oversight. The same thing should happen for war. There should be some sort of parlay. We talk shit about pirates all the time. They're the only ones that have parlay. They're the only ones that have this system in place of, hey, whoa. Before you come over here and butt fuck me with a saber, how about we sit down and talk for a sec? And it's like, yeah, let's do that. We don't have these in these procedures because we don't feel like we deserve them. And that's why nurses are sacrificing their dignity right now. And I don't want to keep showing this video because I don't want them to sacrifice their dignity. I know how hard they work. I know how much they've sacrificed. I know how much they've given. And as soon as you come in, you're like, am I going to learn how to take care of someone? No, first you're going to learn 70,000 Latin names for shit. That's how you're going to learn to help someone. And what happens when you enter Kabbalah? First you need to learn the Talmudic tree of life as told by 17,000 scholars that came before you. You better shut your mouth till you learn them all, boy. Same thing happens to academia. Before you tell me how bad vaccines are, I think you need to spend 12 years going to doctor school where you never actually go visit a vaccine camp. All of these. Mass manipulation. And every year you keep waiting for the answer. And every year they just give you more Latin names for shit. It's called yarning. It's called throwing a yarn out. Yarn's dipped in heroin. And they rolled it out of the closet. It's not even yarn. It's like a giant synthetic noodle dipped in heroin that comes out of the closet. And you got it in your mouth. And you just keep sucking it for 12 fucking years. And as you're sucking it, everyone around you going, you're a doctor. Ooh, I'd like to get with you. You're a doctor. Hey, hey, doctor, how's it going? Oh, doctor. Oh, yeah, here's to you, doctor. We do the same to nurses. They're on a pedestal. They can't do wrong. Therefore, as long as they do procedure, as long as they do what a nurse does, they do no wrong. And right now, they're showing us how foolish we all are. Not them. It's not about how foolish they are. They're showing us how foolish all of us are. But they're sacrificing themselves to do it. They're taking all that prana that we gave them about how great they are, and they're burning it right now. They're burning it so you can see. They're putting light in the cave so you can see. And if you're watching this, you probably see. So fuck yeah, man. Thank you for not ruining their sacrifice. Thank you for making their sacrifice awesome. Because that's what we're doing here. We're making stuff awesome. I like that I can actually inject silence, that I can actually do that. That takes a certain amount of focus and electricity. It's like I sent a joke to Owen the other day, and it took me like 12 hours to send it because it had the word nigger in it. And it took me that long to type that, like to be able to say that. And I was explaining to him that it's an electrical field. For me to say that word, I have to be able to shoot my lance through this electrical field. And it took me 12 hours because it was a really funny joke. At least I thought it was a funny joke. And since Owen's a comedian, I guess he probably gets like 1 million people sending him jokes all the time, which is probably annoying. But the point is that I noticed how difficult it was to send that. I noticed how hard it was. And that shows you the mind control. It's no different than when someone goes, hey, James, I heard you're a flat earth, huh? And I'm just like, who told you that? What did they tell you? How do you understand my cosmology again? What you do know I'm a zeteticist, right? Which means that I don't actually know. I'm only just experiencing what I can. And what I'm experiencing is that there's nothing ball about this. It doesn't make sense to me. You know that, right? And then the whole time I'm realizing, wow, that's a lot of electricity. That's like a lot. It's a lot of electricity to hold my own cosmology. You know, I'll tell you, we won't go into this now, but the only religion is cosmology. It's the only one. My friend Mike was telling me about a snapping turtle that came up in the pond. He was talking to me, and as he was talking to me, a snapping turtle rose up in the pond. It had mud on its back. And I was like, that's beautiful. That's the universe. And we're supposed to make fun of people that think that the universe is a turtle with the earth on its back, but why? I fucking love that idea. That's like such a cool idea. It's such a profoundly cool, amazing idea. And each of us should wear these ideas like fashion. The way we treat fashion now, we should treat cosmology. That's what I love about Hinduism. Because seriously, you can walk into a Hindu cosmology bar and have a giant inflated banana that is attached to a giraffe that's on roller skates, and those roller skates each have centipedes shooting pool inside them, and it's like, this is my cosmology, and everyone's like, yeah, right on, Carl, that's great. I'm waiting for someone in the chat to go, yeah, but the caste system's really shitty. And it's like, yeah, I get it, dude, I get it. All religions suck. But cosmology, that's the one true religion. Each of us should have our own flavor on that. Each of us should have our own idea about what that is. Someone just said Attila. Yeah, good jokes and bad jokes. I have no idea which ones mine are, but hey, it's all good. So, nurses are sacrificing themselves right now. We should do our best to use that wood for the fire, for the apocalypse fire. It's important. I'm going to see if I change scenes here. In the last stream, yesterday's stream, I explained how lying is actually important. How lying is a method of developing a healthy, nurturing child. And with that, this card is so right on. This was on the Economist cover, guys, in 2016 cover of the Economist. And this is a really profound card. First of all, I'm off topic here, but second star from the right, we need to talk about that sometime. I'm going to pass from that right now. But anyway, I just want to point that out. Second star on the right. Oh, I'm doing that with my pen. You can't see the pen. I'm just pointing to this star right there. The Hermit card. What is happening here? All of the people are being led down the valley shouting no. They're like, no, fuck that. No, that. No, definitely no that. Hey, stop. What do you, no. And they're all marching forward saying no. It's freaking gorgeous. This is the greatest apocalypse ever. This is why I think this card encapsulates that. It's our resistance to what they're doing is leading us down the world. It's leading us around the corner. We are being guided by a hermit that we don't see. And this hermetical figure is casting his light, showing us the way out of no. No is the sheep herder. No is the shepherd behind the sheep going, hitting them all in the ass. It's my dog Butter. He's a natural herder once. I let him go once. From birth, he was never trained, never seen cows before. I let him go at my friend's house. He ran into the next yard. He brought 4 or 5 cows down from the hill, like a mile and a half away. Brought them all down the hill and put them inside the fence. And the whole time I'm yelling at him like, stop! No, you'll get trampled by the bull. No. He was epigenetically running his program. We are epigenetically running our program. And because of that, people are using lies to steer us down the valley. It is literally breaking the earth wide open, breaking the globe wide open. This is the hermetical principle. You go into yourself, you find your own way, and you'll see. You'll lead. It's really profound. It's really profound. We are still lost on this idea of lies are all bad. We're still lost on that. And I had posted about this yesterday, and some people had come back saying, well, I would never do that to my kids. I would never lie to them. That would just be so mean. And that's really the same as saying, I would never let my child be exposed to cold while he was growing up. I would never let him find out what it's like to be thirsty, find out what it's like to learn a lesson that's hard. When instead, if you can come up with soft lies, you can lie to your children in a controlled environment. You can actually teach them discernment and how to discern the world. I don't want to go too into this because I think hopefully you'll find that yesterday's stream captured this. But in case you missed it, I'm trying to remind you guys that our parents lie to us, whether they know it or not. Our parents lie to us about these things, about the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and Santa Claus, to prepare us for the world of lies. And some of you have said, well, if no one lies, then this wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but everyone lies, so why are you even saying that? Why are you going to raise your child in a hypothetical? Because to me, that's abandonment. To pretend like that you can shelter them the entire time from lies is fucking lying to your kid. You're lying to your kid by doing that. And explaining that to someone right now is impossible. Why? Because parents have the exact same mind control as nurses, as veterans. They're not holding a gun, therefore there's no way they could be doing damage. This world is full of lies. Nature lies for a living. Look at camouflage. Look at all the animals that are camouflaged beautifully. It's beautiful how much they lie. Deceit is a dimension. Some of you guys think dimensions are like some kind of mathematical construct that's separate from here, and if you just focus hard enough or squeeze your sphincter hard enough, you'll break in and you'll suddenly see it. And the whole time you're missing that deceit is the dimension. Lust is a dimension. Tangibility is a dimension. As deep as you are, you find new dimensions. And when you find other people who know those dimensions, you understand that. You build a friendship over your discovery of a new dimension that no one else knew about. There's a dimension to being a Furby. There's a dimension to being an RC car enthusiast. There's a dimension to studying the Golden Dawn. There's a dimension to cosmology. Those are dimensions. Let's listen to the whatever dude is going to tell you what. No. You're the one who knows what dimensions are. No one else does. And they're all around. That's how we connect. We literally connect. Just like I mentioned, it's an IP address yesterday. There's a telepathic IP address you and I both have. And inside each dimension is like another domain name. And we can both hit that domain name from our own IP address into that dimension and go, hey, Carl, good to see you. Hey, nice to see you. So you brought your long rifle. That's quite a dimension you have. Let's talk about that dimension. Jazz, that's a fantastic dimension. To immerse yourself in life, not hate it. So let's immerse ourselves in deceit. Yeah, I know it sounds fucked. Let's immerse ourselves in this. Let's consider this. Just as your parents have considered it, whether they knew it or not. Humanity is doing the same thing to us. To explain this further, I'd like to talk about how much you disagree with your parents. How important it is that you disagree with your parents. It's crucial. If you did not think that your parents failed you in some way, you would not have the capacity to grow on the perpendicular. Your parents are a stalk that's heading for the light, and they're going this way towards the light. No, they're going this way towards this. They're going this way towards the light. And as you come along, you can't go that way too. Why? Because your parents in the way. You can't go the same way. There's no room there. You have to come out at a tangent. It's a perpendicular. You have to find a way to oppose them, or else you'll never have a space for your own light. The way you oppose your parents is through an electrical field of, I can't believe they did that to me. I would never do that to my kids. And what happens? You never do that to your kids. You would never do it. You'll never do that. So now you'll raise your kids where there's no tooth fairy, there's no Santa Claus, there's no Easter bunny. And you think that you've done well because you fixed your problem. Which is, you're not simulating as them. You're simulating as you. You're simulating as a grown child still. And you're thinking, how can I fix my own pain by injecting that into my own child? When if you were a master gardener, you would encourage a perpendicular. You would understand that if my child comes out in a perpendicular, they will find light that I did not. And if they keep growing on their own, they will eventually head up too. We will eventually be heading in the same direction, but only after we found our own way. And lies is how the stalk pushes its child out. It pushes it out with lies. It literally rejects it. It has to reject the child for the child to grow out on its own. Imagine the bird whose mother just says, I love you. Don't go. Don't go. You can just grow up to be a big bird. You could crap all over my nest and I'll just stay here. I'll keep regurgitating worms into your mouth as a grown bird. You get all fat and shit. You won't be able to fly, but I'll take care of you. I'll keep flying back for you as an old decrepit sparrow, old robin, coming home, regurgitating food into you. No, man, we gotta lie to our kids. It sounds bad, but it's because we have such a hatred for that polarity. We have to learn how to push our kids out where they'll go that way. And I think that's actually a built-in function of trauma. That the trauma you experience you're meant to blame that on your parents. You're meant to. Because if you blame it on your parents, it gives you enough energy to push out directly at a perpendicular. It's a form of pruning, guys. It's like this. And I'm getting ready to show you that this actually proves there's love. I'm running out of point, right? This actually proves there's love involved. What I mean is that if you watch how your parents have pruned you, so the first level is just, oh, you fucking pruned me. My God, I fucking hate you. How dare you prune me? Oh, hi, I'm John. When I was 7, my mom pruned me. Oh, hi, John. Hi, I'm Carl. When I was 8.5, my dad pruned me. Oh, he got me right there, man. Took out a main branch that was heading the wrong way. Man, really stuck me. You can use this pruning as as evidence that they love you by looking at how you were cut. How were you cut? Were you cut in such a way that it still helped? Or were you cut in such a way that it caused a lot of death and growth? Do you see what I mean? If you cut here, I know some of you can't see this. If you cut a branch here, right, you're going to have to wait for all that's going to still get life and it's going to waste the rest. But if you cut right at the node, you should cut here, the remaining stub will die. You can look at how your parents cut you. They cut me, man. They cut me bad. You can look at that and you can see how much they love you. You can actually recognize the love by looking at how you were stubbed. And guys, don't fall for the whole, but you have to be conscious of it. No, your parents can love you just as much and have no conscious idea that they made up the story about the tooth fairy so you'd go out on your own. And that all happens privately, doesn't it? A parent doesn't sit down and go, hey, Timmy, do you think the tooth fairy's still real? It doesn't work that way. This is what your parent's doing. And she tells you, Timmy, the tooth fairy's real. That's how she prunes you. This is pruning. Snip. It's pruning right there on the node. Tooth fairy. Dip. Now the child's like, man, I kissed my first girl. She's laughed at me because I told her the tooth fairy was real. Holy shit. I had no idea. I fucking hate my dad for that. Ugh, whatever. What am I doing? I'm showing you compassion for your parents. I'm showing you how to give compassion to someone that's doing this to you. Not consent, compassion. Compassion's going to let you see where they cut you. Was it a good cut? Was it a bad cut? Before pruning. Isn't this just like the tangles of hair analogy that I gave yesterday? Isn't it? It's just like it, right? After pruning. Look how well shaped that plant is. That plant's ready, man. It is ready for action. This one, not so much. This one has no idea which way it's up. It's competing for its own energy. It's just a tangled mess. This one's right on, man. You can tell who loves this plant more. Who puts more love and care into this plant? Think about it. Think about it, guys. You cannot prune yourself. You can't. You can't. You cannot, when you're 11, go, hi, I'd like to learn about lies. Can you lie to me? I'm going to ask you about space now, and I'd like for you to lie to me so I can learn. No, that's not how it works. Plants can't prune themselves. And you know what's beautiful about that? You know what's freaking beautiful about that? Is it shows you the fractal of life. It shows you that you need something. This master-slave relationship, again, we've got such a bad connotation of that. We are inside the fractal, which means it's a hand, and at the end of each hand, at the end of each finger on each hand is another hand. And when you zoom in on that, at the end of that finger, where that hand is, on top of those fingers is another hand. And you are just like that plant. Someone is going to prune you. And just like it hurts the plant when you snip them, how it would feel like terror or shock if the plant doesn't understand. And indeed, they're not supposed to understand. Remember, they're not supposed to know. The reaction that they have to being cut, to the plant being cut, is actually part of the process of it learning to go out on its own. It's like, holy shit, I can't keep going that way. That way's bad. I need to resolve that myself. It's causing that process. Trauma breeds growth. Trauma is good for you. It cracks you open like a husk. And you burst out into 10,000 dandelion pods. And they're everywhere now. And that's your energetic field. You're now that much bigger. You understand more. You take up more space. The amount you understand is directly proportional to the amount of space you take up, by the way. Whales, those fuckers know what's going on. So, let's keep being like nature. Let's help. Nature is pruning humanity right now, guys, with COVID-19. All the lies, it's pruning humanity. And you've already been initiated into this golden dawn. It already happened when you started following your leads on conspiracy theories. You already began the process of looking. It already started. Now you can quit. You can go back to Babylon. And you can crawl under the COVID cloud. But actually, you know you can't. You know you can't quit. Because you know too much. And it isn't interesting that gnosis is like a virginity. It's like once you know, you can't be a virgin again. Gnosis is an immaculate conception. It's so beautiful. This, like I said, it's the best apocalypse ever. Thanks for the 5 francs, Sticky Marks. Awesome, man. Thank you much. Appreciate that. Make sure I don't think I missed any more. Happy Sunday. Happy Aprilocalypse. Yeah, you can't go back, Indra, and you wouldn't want to. You honestly wouldn't want to, because now you're traveling in time. And if we would discover time travel was real, it would ruin the entire fucking thing. The entire thing would be ruined by time travel. It would fuck it up. It would take all the sacredness out of everything you've done and just shit on it. It's part of why video games aren't as exciting, because you have 3 lives. It still have some excitement because you realize you're losing them, but each life isn't necessarily as valuable because you have that idea where you can go back in time. Now, we've talked about how parents lie, and I hope that I've shown you the secret word, compassion, to understand what it is they're doing. And parents do the same thing. I mean, government does the same thing. Government sets up the fantasy. These are the Wizards of Oz. All of us are in this part. We're all munchkins. Some of us are flying monkeys. Some of us are candy drop munchkins. And we serve the good witch or the bad witch. Depends on which one we want. We are led by their tricks. We are mesmerized by our own lacking. And the initiation from munchkin into human is Dorothy. Dorothy begins her initiation by adopting the term conspiracy theorist. She becomes a conspiracy theorist. She now wants to know the truth more than she wants to know the comfort. Remember, the truth movement is the truth movement is inside. I cannot think of a good analogy. The truth movement is inside of the comfort movement. The comfort is its outer candy coating. Inside is the shell of truth. And that's why most what you'll see are people in a comfort movement. Dorothy abandons her comfort movement. And with that comes her feelings of lack. And really, to not have a heart really is the same as to not understand the power of the heart. Those truly are the same. To not have the courage is to not understand how important courage is. You have to recognize these things, and you would only recognize truth if it was surrounded by lies. True will set you free, as Mike Franco says. In fact, I will bring up my first confession. Ladies and gentlemen, I, James True, being a sound mind and body, have failed I have stumbled upon the rock. The very first page of my book, Blueprints of Mind Control, ends, the foreword, the first chapter, ends with the sentence, so go ahead, ask yourself, is that true? And it is hilarious how embarrassing this is that I've not done that for so long. as I've been telling you all how important it is. And I to give myself credit, I have been doing that in some places, but I have not in others. And the other places that I've not done that in have been really, really big ones. I mean, really big. And you guys need to keep score, because keep in mind, not only have I not been following my own advice about asking if it's true for everything, under the auspices that I'm a claims aestheticist, which means I would do that at all times, but I've also written a book telling you guys to do it, and I haven't done it. Add that to last week, me telling you that a bunch of people were going to die. It's just, you guys need to be keeping score on me, because it is not looking good for James. It's not. And what's weird is that even though the score is so bad, I get comments all the time about, dude, you're right on, and which is beautiful. It's still it's still beautiful. So thank you for those who will stick by anyway. And yeah, you know, it's we are all Wizards of Oz without us even knowing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We are all participating in this grand hermetical spell. And maybe my confessions are actually the same way as like pruning. Maybe by me hurting myself in this way, it actually doesn't even really hurt. It's more funny. I find this apocalypse mostly funny at this point. I really do. It's especially since yesterday. I've been doing a lot more laughing about it, and that's a really powerful thing. I think it's opening the compassion for me for others. So not only is it just better, it's actually more constructive, is what I'm trying to say. And where did I not? Well, James, what are you talking about? Where did you not ask, is that true? And the answer, my friends, is 9/11. I can't prove this, but I think it was a planned demolition. We know it was a planned demolition. We know that. But what I didn't ask if it was true was, were there 2,996 people inside? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Just like you saw a video of planes going into buildings, which was defying every possible function of aluminum. I mean, a bird can smash through an entire plane. And we're showing these planes going solidly into a building and collapsing the whole thing. Just as we saw video of planes go into those buildings, I think we saw video of people dying inside those buildings and jumping from the windows. If I'm wrong, I'm like the shittiest person in the world, if you think about it. Like, to hear what I'm saying right now. Like, if that's wrong, it's like awful. Awful. And just as I told you should be watching the score, baby, man, I am playing some serious gin rummy right now with this. I am. But here's why. Here's why I think no one died. And it's just one picture. This is Larry Silverstein with his arm around Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. This was taken in 2012. It was after 9/11, of course. And it was taken on 2012. When I saw this picture, I never asked, is it true? What I did was I said, how could you fucking let your wife stand next to somebody that would murder 2,996 people? And I asked that out loud, and most people on Twitter, the people that wanted to follow the hope dildo, were coming back saying, because it's how you secretly extract information as you get to know your enemy. And I'm like, dude, your wife is sacred. Your wife is sacred. Even if you're trying to extract the enemy, you would be between them. You would not allow a mass murderer to touch your wife. No. And when I resolved this, I assumed that it must be because they're all just so sick and twisted and evil. That was my resolve. I had no compassion. And I assumed it has to be because of that. Not once did it occur to me that maybe the news was lying. I didn't do what I told you to do on page 1. I will say that it's kind of helpful that I right out of the gate on page 1, I told you what we should be doing. I will give myself credit for that. But I don't think that you can have the adrenals necessary to stand that close to someone, knowing that he did that, knowing that he profited, billions of dollars off those dead people. And I would assume that the chat's probably ripping me a new one right now. Maybe. I'm actually purposely not going to look right now because I I just have to put this out. Even if it's wrong, I have to put it out. Because it's an exercise in compassion, not consent. Not consent, damn it. Compassion. These are different. I know they look the same, but they're not. Compassion is understanding why someone would do something. It's not consenting with them. It's just understanding why they would. What was going through their adrenals at the time that caused them to do that. And the answer that, well, because they're evil, is not a fucking answer. That's not an answer. And the more we insist that that's an answer, the more we will keep falling for these fucking stories. Because we think, oh, because they're evil is somehow an answer. That's not how it works. These people have adrenals. They have endocrine systems. They're going to feel things. They're going to feel shit. It's going to echo in them. Just like Gloria Vanderbilt. That's a perfect example of what I mean. Gloria Vanderbilt is seriously fucked in the head. And you hear it when she speaks. You see it in all of her actions. She will read pedophilia, incest pedophilia stories to her son because he's depressed. And then he'll jump out the window. If that's true. We approach news from a base line of I believe you. And they've never once earned that. Never once have they ever earned that from us. Truth, our blind belief in what they tell us is placenta. We're inside that bubble where we're still living on their liquid. We're not even using our lungs. Everything's through the navel. And when you're lied to finally, when you're finally lied to enough, finally, you break that placenta. And some of us like me wanted to get back inside. We're like licking it up. We're licking the placenta. I know it's not even gross. It's just natural. But we're licking it. We're trying to fill our cells back up with that liquid so we can breathe again because we're afraid to lose our lungs. Why? Because we haven't been lied to enough. Because we haven't been pruned properly. Because we have to be pruned. We have to be cut just right. And if 9/11 doesn't do it, we'll just make up Epstein Island. We'll tell everyone there's a satanic pedophile cult that traps people behind doors. And there's 17 screaming children that are down an elevator shaft inside here. If only we could have someone come and paint this door lock off. If we could just have someone unpaint this fake door to show that it's open, we could get inside. This is not a satanic temple. Those are not arches. There is not a dome on the roof. This is a utility building. Someone painted a utility building to look like it had doors on the side. This is not an arch. This is a movie set. It's supposed to be seen from the water when you're snorkeling. Look at the ground line. It's not a door. Now, when I presented this, that's when I started, that's when this "you're a psychopath" began. I was called a psychopath because I presented that this is a fake building. And I've never seen more people be so upset and sad because there wasn't a satanic pedophilia cult here murdering kids and eating their faces off. People were disappointed. They were mad at me for showing them that kids were not being tortured. They were upset at that. And if you go back to my initial videos where I raved about this, sorry, I'm a little bit heated right now. The denial was dripping from the teeth. It was so bad. And I would show them this wall. And I would say, do you understand that's not a door? And they were going, what are you talking about? They didn't have the aperture, guys. This is what I've been talking about. They didn't have the aperture to see the truth. They could not accept the information that this is a faux door, that it's painted on. They could not accept that. Therefore, they just insisted, no, because it has to be true because Q told us. It has to be true. Why would they lie about that? Why would they lie? And even after telling everybody, Q Steve Bannon, even after insisting, it didn't work for people because they wanted it to be Admiral Rogers. Why? Because it's got the word admire in it. That's why. Because Ginger Rogers sounds something like Admiral Rogers. Because it fucking feels good. That's why. It feels good. And when I explained to people that Steve Bannon went to Harvard, then he went to Hollywood, then he started writing movies, anti-Hillary movies, then he published Pizzagate at Breitbart, then he published Wiener, then he published Epstein, then he published Clinton. That the exact same person has been behind every single piece of this Zionist agenda of we must kill the pedophiles, the raising of the witch. Even after all that, even after showing the Epstein fake pictures, he comes on TV one final time, and underneath him, it's got QQQ Trust, pretending to be a corporate, like there's a corporation called QQQ Trust, and it's right underneath Steve Bannon as he's talking. And I didn't do all this numerology. This is how crazy Q people are. And he's from Oracle, Arizona. This is how you sign a painting. This is Steve Bannon signing a painting. He's saying, look at this shit, man. He may not even be saying it's shit. He's building a narrative because he's sharpening the spear. The spear is you. Your will, your intent, your trust. He's making it addicting to stay. Remember I told you the yarn is dipped in heroin? QAnon is the heroin. The yarn is government. And this is why you see this. This is why I think this is actually people pruning you correctly. This is why it's a correct prune, guys. Look at this. What you're looking at is a Donald J. Trump sponsored ad. This was just 3 days ago. And he's saying, proudly wear your official woke hat and show your support for our great president. And it's a white hat with the words black in black saying woke. And the next image is Linda Sarsour standing with I don't know, like a dozen chicks, and they're all wearing exactly the same thing. They're wearing jeans with black shirts with white writing, and it says "Stay woke." Woke in white with black. Woke in black with white. We say, well, these people are laughing at us. And yeah, how could they not laugh at us? How could they not laugh at us that we still believe them? But they're actually doing more than just laughing. Because if you're saying they're laughing at us, what you're really saying is when your mom's combing your hair and trying to pull the tangles out, you're saying, she's laughing at me. She's mocking me. She's pulling my hair and mocking how the tangles are there. And so you can sit there. You can sit there at because she's mocking me. Because she's evil. Because these people are evil. That's why. Because they're evil. Because she's mocking us. And then you can stay. You don't have to go past it. You never have to go past it. You never have to learn, well, what else? Could it be that government's pruning me? Could it be? Could it be that people, whether consciously or not, are participating in the natural raising of humanity? Could it be that all the trauma and lies, whether conscious or not, whether intentioned or not, are all a necessary function of pruning, of God's pruning? And if their behavior is because they're dastardly, or if their behavior is because they're in on the secret, the results are still the same. You have to look at how you've been pruned so you can understand what was done to you. What were you like before, and what are you like now? How is the apocalypse treating you, hurting? Some of you are going to be mad for a while. I'm one of you. I'm actually still kind of mad at certain people. But it's getting easier. It's getting easier to not be so mad, because I see where I initiated myself into this. I see where I took a step on the yellow brick road. I've seen how much sweat and tears I've put into laying my own golden bricks to help others that come after me. I see that the book I wrote, that I didn't even read my own advice, is its own yellow brick road. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all the things I've been wrong about. I'm proud of my ability to admit them and claim them. I am just one branch on the gnosis tree. And it could be that you guys need to prune me. It could be that my ideas are not working. They're not accurate. And we need to prune them. And I firmly understand that this is natural. This is how it works. I have compassion for you guys' need to prune me as needed too. What you're looking at right now on screen is the mathematical formula for how a stem will break from its root. It's on an angle called A1, and A1 is equal to A2, which is equal to A3. It's showing you how the plant will naturally branch from itself in such a way to give it the best opportunities for growth and for light, so that each person is not hurting the other's ability to grow and find its own light. That we have built into our harmonic this formula, this fractal formula, which is helping us all find light. It's helping us all because we are all part of the same thing. And if we don't get that, it's okay, because there's more lies waiting. There are more things that can still happen that will guide you down the alleyway and into the light. It's okay. They have all the time in the world. And in Madrid, this mysterious glowing cloud spotted in the sky is one of several. It's just like yesterday I told you, there are 380 trillion viruses. If you're gonna fall for COVID, that's okay. We've got 379 trillion, 999 million, 999,999 more viruses that we can tell you, hey man, this virus is called the heavy virus, so you need to get down on your knees and wear a mask and crawl through the grocery store. It's the only. Think of the kids, man. Think of the kids. Would you think of the kids? My God, you're so selfish. You're not thinking of the kids. You want to live, right? Well, think of the kids. You're going to need to also wear this face mask over your butthole too. Yep. It's your. That's how bad you are. That's how bad this whole thing is. This is you. This is, if you're a man, don't worry. This is anima. Animus and anima. And a man, the internal is Jung talks about this. Your shadow personality is going to be, it's not even female, it's feminine. It's like the polarity of that. Just like truth. Okay, truth is male. Lies are female. Women, please forgive me if you understood that we have such a negative connotation to the word negative. you'd see that's actually a compliment. That you're the vessel. You need an absence of truth so that truth may come. It's truth is the sword. You're the scabbard. It's really that easy. But we've been shaming the scabbard. We've been shaming your divine power the entire time. And that's why we don't see that we don't have compassion for the lies. And it starts with having compassion for your parents when they told you about the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus. Or having even more compassion because they never thought to tell you lies. You'd have to look back at them with compassion and go, man, why'd you do that? And only then can you have enough compassion to know, well, she grew up in a world of dissonance and she wanted a home that had no lies in it. That's why. But see, this comes back to conscious or not conscious. It doesn't really matter. What's key is that we all find a way to run our formula, to grow tangent. And that's what's happening right now to you in government. Government is the stalk, and you're the branch. And your sovereignty requires that you look back at government and say, fuck you. Fuck you. That horse you rode in on, fuck that too. That's your job. That's your hermetic job, is to reject government. And you're not. You're clinging to it. You're sucking up the placenta in your mouth. You're like, oh, I want my mama to stay. I want mama to stay. And she's looking at you going, holy fuck, this guy's retarded. My son's retarded. I love him, but he's retarded. What am I going to do? And it's gotten to the point where she's kicking you in the face and you're still licking it up. We all are. Me too. We're going to stop now because this is the best apocalypse ever. It's the best one ever. Corporations can't own land, guys. A fictitious entity cannot own land. And government's been lying to you the whole time, waiting for you to realize that. It's making it as painful as possible for you. It's taxing your labor. Do you understand that when your labor is taxed, you become a sharecropper for your own time? And all of you are walking around like it's normal. And government's waiting for you to notice it's not normal. But you won't. Because you're lapping up the corporate fiction. And government's going to make it harder and harder and harder and harder until you get it. Until you stop. Until you say, that's some bullshit right there. A, corporate fictions aren't even real. Like that right there. That's a biggie. Corporations are fictitious entities. It starts with that. You are not a corporate fiction. You are the antithesis of fiction. And government's waiting for you to remember that. It can't tell you that. If it keeps feeding you, you'll just keep lapping at its tit. It dips its tit in vinegar, hot sauce, vaccines, aluminum. It puts anything it can in its teat, and you just keep sucking on it. Government wants you to grow. These people want you to illuminate. They're not laughing at you. They're poking you with oscillation. They're using ridicule to get you to stand the fuck up. They're doing you a favor, whether you're conscious of it or not, and whether they are conscious of it or not. They need you to realize something. You are the living soil. You are the land incarnate. This land is nothing without you. You are nothing without land. This land is your land. This land is my land. Only real entities can own land. Every corporate fiction that owns land around you, around your house, is vacated zombie land. It's not even owned by a person. And anyone who's tried to wrap their land inside of a corporate fiction has given their land away. They've said, I don't own it. They said the machine owns it. And if we don't reclaim our land, every single piece of corporate land will be the next phase of trying to wake you up. The machine will buy that land. The machine will own that land. The machine will use that land to terrorize the fuck out of you. Because you have to wake up. They don't care how much it hurts. They only care you wake up. Pruning shears that are the most compassionate are sharp as fuck. We have so much to learn. Taxation makes you a sharecropper for your time. Compound interest is fraud. Look at this chart. Look at the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Do you know why we have compound interest? Because you let it happen. Because I let it happen. Because we believe in corporate fiction. There are 379,999,999,999 more needles coming for you. How many is it going to take? This is the best apocalypse ever. It's freaking fantastic. That's all I got for... Oh! Sarcasm. My confession. I gave you one confession. The next one is sarcasm. I've been recommending to people that they stop sarcasm temporarily. It's a form of fasting. It's fasting for your vocal cords. The reason why I'm recommending it is because when you stop being sarcastic, you're literally telling all of your cells in your body, like Captain Kirk. General quarters, general quarters. Yeah, guys, from now on, whenever I say something, I actually mean it. Because I need you guys to start understanding that I'm back. I'm in the cockpit now. I'm running the show. And if I tell you guys something, I actually mean it. Now, thank you, over and out. I'm telling you guys this about sarcasm because I think there's so much inversion in the world that if you wanted to, just like you can fast to heal your body, you can fast your vocal cords with parthenia and build up a regimen towards polarity of truth. I think sarcasm is beautiful. I think it's funny, and I've been participating in it as I'm hypocritically telling you not to. And it's just another one of many reasons why you really need to prune the shit that I tell you. Like, seriously. You guys need to fucking prune that shit. Because if you start pretending like I know the answers, I'll just be another government. And man, fuck that noise. Fuck that. I do not want to plan fake demolitions and chase after you with needle rape, I don't want to do that. Don't make me do that. Don't make me do that to you, fellas. Ladies, don't make me do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to have some campfires with you. So, let's end this show. We all got lots to do. And, I'm sorry to not pay as much attention to the chat now. It was because I was just really afraid that I was going to get so much shit about the 9/11, and I just had to get it out, man. I had to. And again, I'm not saying believe me. I'm saying ask the question, is that true? That's all. Just ask the question, man. Just ask it. That's all it takes. All right? Thanks for pruning with me. Thanks for being in the spring. Thanks for being in this great apocalypse. Go out and spread your truth. I'd like to remind everybody about the mask trick, please, one final time. Basically, you can simply point at the mask and say, I can't understand you when someone's wearing a mask. Just say that. That's completely true on so many different levels. I can't understand you. And if it gets bad, tell them that maybe we should start crawling around. This is my contribution to comedy here, this little crawling around thing here. I hope you like that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Man is the living soil. I love you much. And we'll talk